There we go. And we're gonna help him out. Oh my gosh. Oh, don't bite me, dude. I'm trying to help you, dude. My arms aren't long enough. And he's got himself spread out like this. It ain't easy saving lizards. It ain't easy. You know what? This morning I was riding my bike back from the gym and I stopped off to see some of the Peter's rock iguanas that hang out at this gas station that I sometimes frequent, or patron, whatever. Anyway, there were some rock iguanas there. And those guys are originally from East Africa, and they are now established here in Florida. Some people call them the painted iguana, the rainbow iguana, because the males have a really pretty coloration, whereas the females are a little bit more drab. They're insectivorous, and they are really quite amazing animals. And it got me to thinking, how many non-native animals do I have, lizards rather, do I have living at my house? So today, we're gonna wander around the yard and we're gonna find all the non-native lizards that actually live here. Starting with the, look at this! Holy smokes, guys! Look at this! It's a little redfoot tortoise that hatched out in the ground. Oh my gosh, that's amazing! What are you doing, little one? This is so cool. We have this whole backyard enclosed so they can't escape, and we actually have a little baby redfoot. Talk about that. That is so funny. We're talking about invasive lizards, and we actually have a little non-native tortoise. Holy smokes, I am so psyched, just kind of random. And look at this. He's only a few weeks old because there's his little umbilicus. And how convenient for me that I'm gonna put him right into this enclosure. That is awesome. Holy smokes, that is so random. What a pretty little one. Naturally hatched right here in the backyard. And you can see we have this all completely sealed up. So I'm sure to find some more wandering around. Now, back to the video. That is so random. Here are the curly tail lizards, and they're probably my favorite little non-natives. I always tease people and say these are my pets, and they kind of are, because these guys are incredible. And they just kind of come over, hang out, get some food. You can see we have so many of them. And they've actually been here at the camp for quite some time now. I remember when they first arrived, about 10 years ago. So they're not animals that have been here for a very long time, but they are now firmly established here in South Florida, or rather at the camp. So it's very interesting to see so many of these guys kind of hanging out nowadays. They are quite the characters. They're originally from the Bahamas, which is not too far away from where we are here in South Florida. These guys are definitely making themselves at home. Now, it's kind of an interesting thing. We say non-native, and there'll be some of the lizards that we see today that I kind of think may have been established longer than what people think, meaning it wasn't necessarily the pet trade. Because if you think about it, friends, we actually aren't too far from the Bahamas, and we get hurricanes, we get all kinds of interesting meteorological events that could cause these animals to probably get washed off their islands, raft on vegetation, and then show up here in Florida, which is not too far away. In fact, it's actually part of the Caribbean basin, if you think about it. We're just huge peninsula jutting off into almost to the tropics. Cuba's not far away. Central America, as far as being a place where animals can raft from, not too far away. But you can see these curly tails are really, really fun. They're interesting little lizards. I really enjoy them, and they are in the pet trade. I remember being a boy in Long Island, and in the 80s I would see these guys offered for sale, and it was so cool to see them. They tame up, they're omnivores, they'll eat just about anything. They can eat vegetation, they're going to eat fruit, they're going to eat pellets, they're going to eat every single thing they can get, including the superworms we have here from our friends at Fluker Farms. And these guys really become very tame. And they also become habituated to people. I'm not the first person that has figured this out. Everybody's got a story here in South Florida about their pet curly tails that live on their patios. They're really cool lizards. I enjoy them, and I hope you guys are enjoying them also. They're just amazing. I love my animals. I kind of lived here in Florida. I moved here to Florida so that I can kind of spend time with all these strange, bizarre, really exotic critters. And having these guys live right on my patio is pretty cool. But let's venture on into the backyard and see what else we can find. Look at that. We don't have to go too far. There are quite a lot of species that I have here. In fact, it's actually difficult for me to find any native lizards in Florida, in my backyard. So we're just gonna kind of wander around and see what else is out here. Now, having this awesome aquascapes ecosystem here has certainly benefited the wildlife. These guys definitely like to congregate around water. I am looking for a specific lizard, believe it or not. And wouldn't you know it, whenever I'm not making a video, they are everywhere. But now, we're having a hard time finding one. But let's see. Say hello to Bella. Hi, Bella. All right. Let's see what's next. It's pretty hot part of the day, but we should still find some. There's definitely some in the backyard. Oh, I hear the telltale scurrying of a little reptilian friend. Where could they be? How about a redfoot tortoise enjoying the shade here from this Ficus repens? Look at this. I gotta trim this down. This is quite the overtaking plant. It becomes invasive, believe it or not. How about another redfoot hiding out right there? So on this journey looking for lizards, we're gonna definitely see some more of the other critters that hang out here at the camp. Don't you worry. I did see one up. Here's one. Here's one wandering around. Oh, I heard more. Where are they? Go back out this way. Okay, there's a curly tail on the fence. I'd say curly tails are probably the most prolific lizards that we have here. Okay. Here's one. This is what I'm looking for, but they're kind of fast. Let's see if I can get up close with this longer pole. Shucks. Oh, he went into the alligator enclosure. Of course, I'm talking about basilisks. We've got lots of basilisks living around the camp. Let's wander over here by some of the croc monitor and monitor lizard enclosures. There's some more. There's one there. There's a curly tail. Oh, that's a squirrel. That's not a lizard. That's boring. Boring little squirrel. Well, here's another little lizard. Here's a lizard right there that is non-native. That is up there. It goes up there. That is the brown anole, and that's a female. Where'd she go? we don't want to get ahead of ourselves. This reminds me of being a kid. When I'd come down to see my grandparents here in Florida, I would always go out looking for lizards and stuff, and kind of doing the same thing now. It's just my own backyard, which is pretty cool. Well, let's see. We'll wander this way. Okay, there's a basilisk over there. I'm gonna try and cut it off. It's a small one, but they're so fast it's hard to get near them. Holy smokes. All right, guys. Well, here's a little female brown anole. Now, these guys can get up to 9 inches long if they are in fact a male. They're originally from Cuba. They're also found now in Mexico, Taiwan, Texas, Georgia. They are really, really prolific, and they've actually conquered quite a bit of the world. They got to Florida through plants, basically laying their eggs in plants. People would plant the plants and then the eggs would hatch, and they just have become very, very good at taking over. And they've pushed out our native Carolina anoles, the green anole, which I rarely, if ever, see anymore. When you do see them, they're usually found higher up in the canopy. So the brown anole, like this little girl right there, has become another very, very popular critter here in Florida, and it is in fact an invasive. And I've got a bug on my head. I can't get it off. It's so annoying. Anyway, we are looking at these non-native lizards here at the camp. So that is the second one we're seeing. Just that little anole. There are plenty of them floating around. The males are going to have a crest. Let's see if we can find a male. The males have crests and are a little bit more ornate than the females. Oh, they're all over the place. But they are still kind of a cool and kind of ubiquitous lizard. There's a lot of them around South Florida. So that's number 2, but we're looking for a better shot where we can find some basilisk. Let's see. Okay, see, the basilisks are all over, guys, but they're so darn fast. You see them, they run to the water. They are just incredible. We're gonna keep on wandering. Now, the other interesting thing about the basilisks are the fact that these basilisks are also newer arrivals here to my area. They've been found far south for many, many years, but they are extending their range more north here in Palm Beach County. And about another 10-15 years ago is when I started to see more basilisks, and they are really good at reproducing and, you know, kind of spreading themselves out there. And so that's why we have tons of them. Now let's see, we might even see one of the most popular invasive lizards coming up soon. This is usually where they hang out. I'm hoping we find them, because I'll be honest with you, I'm pretty excited to have these guys here. Here's another. That's a little baby curly tail. Little baby curly tails. Up, there we go. Oh, look at this. We got a basilisk. We got a basilisk, just what I wanted. We got a basilisk, guys. And they every once in a while get caught in here, so this is perfect because we want to see, will you let go? We want to see one of these up close, and that's what we're going to be able to do. I wonder if I can push him out easier than I can pull him out. Let me see. Yeah, I think I can do that. He got himself stuck pretty good. So what I'm gonna do, guys, it's so difficult to do. I'm gonna try and grab him. Look at that male basilisk. How cool is this, huh? All right, good. Stay there, stay there. Okay, good, stay there. I'm just gonna borrow you for a minute, buddy. We're gonna borrow you. I need my hands, friends. I'm gonna get bit by this guy. I gotta put the little tripod down. There we go. And we're gonna help him out. Oh my gosh. Oh, don't bite me, dude. I'm trying to help you, dude. Oh, wouldn't you know, this is difficult. My arms aren't long enough, and he's got himself kind of spread out like this. I need to, how am I gonna do this, friends? It ain't easy saving lizards. It ain't easy saving lizards. There we go. There we go. All right, so we were looking for a basilisk. We found a basilisk. Let's hang out with the basilisk. This is the brown basilisk, friends. These guys are originally from Central America, Mexico, Central America, and into some parts of Colombia, believe it or not. These are the famous Jesus lizard, or Jesus Christ lizard. They are named after the Greek basilisk, which could turn you to stone if it looked at you. It was part rooster, part goat. I don't know. It was, I think basilisk means something to do with king. But anyhow, in addition to Medusa, they could turn you to stone as well. This one's kind of playing dead at the moment because it's just feigning death because it's, you know, been captured here, luckily for us. So they have this beautiful crest, the males, okay? But they do run on the surface of water because they're very fast. Now the smaller ones can actually run further along on water. Okay, the larger ones don't. These are carnivores. They are very good at catching insects, and they are incredibly fast. They run on hind legs. They always remind me of like little dinosaurs, little compies, because they run around on their hind legs when they're scared. They are an animal that were introduced to Florida, of course, through the pet trade, and now they are everywhere. Like I said, most of the lizards we're going to see today, probably all the lizards that I find here today on my property are going to be non-native, but I kind of like it. You know, these guys are just super interesting. I mean, you know, if you think about, with the exception of the Peter's rock iguanas that we talked about earlier, most of the lizards that have colonized Florida are actually from the New World. And it goes back to what I was talking about. You know, these animals aren't from that very far away, and they do well because we have a very unique climate here in the southeastern United States. These guys don't go very much further north than where I live. They just can't take cold very well, but here in South Florida, when we have a cold snap, they find refuge in, you know, crevices and in, you know, just basically areas where the habitat's been disturbed, tunnels, things of that nature, burrows of other animals where the temperatures are much more consistent. Also, they are semi-aquatic. They do take to water, and if they do kind of stay in the water during a cold snap, the water holds its temperature a lot better. This is about, as they'll get a little bit bigger than this. You can actually get from snout to tail, to the tip of the tail, you can have a basilisk that's about 24 inches. So they can be quite long, but this one here is not. I was also talking about Peter's rock iguana earlier, and I was mentioning about disturbed habitat. The rock iguanas tend to live in and around human development. In fact, I find them on overpasses, like we found the ones we were talking about in the dumpsters, you know, just places where it's not like a natural spot, but yet those animals have moved in and they've created a niche. These guys are more all over the place. These are very good. They just need to be found near water, and they do like a lot of vegetation because they hide in the vegetation and then jump out of it into the water when they're frightened. So let's bring this guy. Oh, he's gonna bite the camera. Let's bring this guy over here, and we'll see. Ooh, I almost got nailed by him. We'll see if he'll take to the water. I don't know. He'll probably just kind of run away, to be perfectly honest. But yeah, how cool is that though? We got our hands on a basilisk. Very, very awesome. Not something I expected to happen. I mean, that's just one of those happy accidents. And then here's our Madagascar big-headed turtle and our Indian spotted turtles. Doing real good, but let's see if this guy will take off in the water. Nope, look at him go. Oh, that's awesome. All right, cool. So we saw the basilisk, but guess what, guys? Now we're gonna go see the most popular or most famous non-native lizard that we've got in Florida. Here it is, a baby green iguana. There it is. Look at our little baby here. I am so excited that we have green iguanas in Florida. They have always been one of my favorite lizards. Up, and it's taken to the grass. Okay, it's taken to the grass. There it is. Let's just see if we can get this camera right here and just have a look at it. Okay, so that's one of our little ones. I've counted 8 on the premises now. So we have 8, and I even found one in Slinky's enclosure. So we definitely had a nest that hatched a few months ago. You guys remember when we did this earlier. Now these guys are an incredibly controversial lizard here in Florida. Everyone says they were brought by the pet trade, but there is some evidence that these animals made it to the Keys via rafting in the early part of the 20th century. Like I said, hurricanes and all those other events could definitely blow these animals across and onto islands. If you look at the Galapagos iguanas, the marine iguana and the land iguana, they believe they got to those islands from the same thing, from rafting. And then if you think about the Fijian iguana, which is a true iguana, made it all the way to Fiji. It's a New World lizard. How the heck did a New World lizard make it all the way to Fiji? They believe that those animals made it because of rafting across the entire Pacific. That's just insane. So here they are in South Florida, where I'm not convinced they don't belong. They do very well here. They can tolerate our short cold snaps. I love seeing them. I see them everywhere, and they are expanding. These are lizards that are getting, you know, further north, but they're not going to make it much further, because you've heard the stories of these guys getting frozen and falling out of trees during cold snaps. They're definitely not going to take over in a very meaningful way. They are actually just really, really cool. Let me just make sure we're still filming. Oh, thank goodness. Okay. So anyway, I just love the fact that we have them here in the yard, because, hey, it's going to be fun to see 6-foot lizards running around the yard. I don't, it doesn't bother me. I don't care if they eat my plants. A lot of people complain down on Palm Beach Island because they poop on their yachts and on their docks, and they eat all their non-native plants that they planted. Personally, they say they also cause a lot of destruction for some of these, you know, canal banks and things like that. And then certain farmers, of course, don't want them eating their crops. So they can be a nuisance, but here at Kamp Kenan, they do not bother me at all. And I'm really excited to have them, because it seems like these guys are going to stick around, which is kind of cool. If you're a reptile lover, you dream about living in a place with all these different animals hanging out, and that's exactly what's going on with me. I built this yard to be as inviting as possible to all the wildlife, and everyone seems to be sharing the habitat nicely. There was a green iguana that looked like it lost a bit of its tail. It's already growing back, and there's also some difference in sizes in some of them. Some are growing quicker than others. So the green iguanas are mostly herbivores, but they will take some animal protein when they're young and even when they're old. What I've learned is even in the tortoises, they will, you know, you consider them a herbivore, but when they come across something that's easy to catch or something that has died, they'll make use of that animal protein, which is pretty cool, pretty interesting stuff. So how about it? Green iguanas living at the camp, so awesome. So what have we seen so far? Curly tails, brown anoles, the basilisk, and the green iguana. Plus, we also have some Peter's rock iguanas thrown in for good measure. They're not on the premises, but they're in the neighborhood. So that's pretty cool. Now, there's one more I don't even think we're gonna find. It's pretty rare to see it, but I'm gonna give it a go because I've been seeing one recently, not too far from here. I'm talking about the Cuban night anole. That is another lizard that is from the Caribbean that is now living here in South Florida. I don't think we're gonna find it, guys, but maybe Tom will drop in some kind of stock footage of a Cuban night anole. I'd love to be able to get one. I've been doing a lot of trimming in here, and where we find them is higher up in the trees and plants. They'll only come down to lay on the ground to thermoregulate. Let me climb up on this. But I have been seeing one in the last few days since I've been working around here, and that's what inspired me. I just would, you know, it's so amazing. So what do we got? We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 species of non-native lizards living here at the camp. That's just amazing. I think that's just the coolest thing ever. So I'm still looking, guys. Don't worry, we're gonna give it the old college try. But Cuban night anoles are insectivores. They're the largest of the anoles. They get quite big, and they are, as I said, found way up high. So here we go. Look at this ficus tree. We've got, I think, squirrels over there, but these lizards are making their home here at my house, and I find them from time to time, which is kind of cool. It's always like one of those rare treats, you know, like, oh, cool, night anole, and they're usually just looking down, you know, staring at me, and it doesn't bother me at all. Who is that, a squirrel? Oh, so much for that camera. All right, so it was too hot, this camera, so we're almost out of time here, friends. But let's keep going and see if we can find a night anole. Now, I hope the night anole wasn't upset that I trimmed everything down, because there is quite a lot less cover than there was originally. We've got little baby brown anoles running around the place. I don't know, guys. I knew this was going to be a tall order to get a night anole on video, but I tried. You'll have to take my word for it. We've got them. Well, friends, I say we did pretty good today. Brown anoles, curly tails, green iguanas, basilisks, the Peter's rock iguana, or agama, excuse me, and the non-existent night anole. But that's what we've got going on in my yard. Haven't found one native lizard. We have 3-line skinks. We've got the Carolina green anole. There's fence lizards in Florida, but they're in the northern part of the state. Anyhow, I just wanted to do something different today. Get out there and see what's kind of lurking around my backyard. And I'd say we did pretty good. I'm pretty happy with today. Anyway, thanks so much for joining me on my little backyard safari. It's kind of nice that I can go see these animals from all over the world right in my backyard. Some people may disagree. We get a lot of people here in the farms that aren't necessarily fans of reptiles, and they get a little nervous when they see strange animals running about. But hey, that's why I live in Florida. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and head on over to our Patreon page. Patreon, what is it? Kamp Kenan. What is it? Patreon.com/Kamp Kenan. Yeah, that's it. All right, guys, I'm gonna go take it easy, see what else I can get into here today, and I thank you. Oh, curly tail. I thank you so much for joining me. See you later. I love it.